Today we will be unboxing the X2 Uni Conical by BrewBuilt. This is the 7-gallon version, and it does have the jacket on there for cooling. Now, as most any other home brewer will tell you, this is not what makes good beer. You and your processes make good beer, and it's easy to make good beer in other fermentation vessels, even as simple as a plastic bucket. That being said, you can't deny that this thing is cool, and it has a lot of accessories that can go along with it. Let's go ahead and unbox this bad boy. This thing came shipped in 2 different boxes, one with the main unit and one with accessories. Good thing they did a good job of packaging on this. The main unit was packaged in a box that definitely got thrashed around via FedEx, but I tell you what, there was absolutely no damage to the unit. In the accessories box, we have the insulation jacket to help keep the temperature more stable within the unit. We also have the flex chamber to help collect some of that trub and yeast at the very end of fermentation in case you want to do that before racking. And finally, it comes with the pressure pack, which has a gas in and a liquid out post on it. And it comes with a floating dip tube in case that's how you want to transfer instead of using the sample port. All in all, this is everything that comes with this kit. Quite a few accessories in this box. No need to be intimidated, it goes together super easy. I will say though, it's kind of an interesting choice to include a pressure kit when you're using a blow-off tube and you need a way to close the vessel in order to use that pressure pack. So you either need to have a spunding valve that already works on the gas inside, or a way to close off that blow-off tube once fermentation is done. In my case, it's not a big deal. I ordered a spunding valve from Spike, but it's just kind of an interesting choice. I also find it interesting that they don't include a racking arm. I know that they're wanting to encourage using that pressure pack in order to transfer, but I prefer the use of a racking arm, so I ordered one separately from this kit. First impression of this unit is, holy crap, it is shiny. I mean, there was no way I wasn't going to get myself in that shot just a second ago. There are some nice etched lines in there for the gallon marks. That way you can keep track of what the volume is in there, and they're super visible even despite it being so shiny. The welds on this unit are great, with the exception of one spot right above where the in and out ports are for the cooling jacket. Now, as I mentioned before, this thing actually goes together pretty easy. I started by putting on the feet, putting on the jacket, followed by putting on the butterfly valve on the bottom for the dump port, and getting those ports on the front ready. Now, I know some have said that the lid gasket goes in kind of odd on this unit. It is a little oversized, and the instructions actually say that it is purposefully made that way. Just make sure that you put the flat side down and push it in really nice. It will stay in there, trust me. Once the lid gasket was seated properly, I moved on to the rest of the lid accessories, like the blow-off tube assembly, as well as inserting the flex chamber on the bottom port. Once that was done, everything was set and ready to go. And there you have it. Here she is in all of her beauty. The BrewBuilt X2 Conical. I must say, from a first glance, this thing looks beautiful. As I showed earlier, there's just slight weld marks on this one side, but to be honest, they're out of sight, out of mind. And everything went together really smooth. Obviously, I need to leak test this and clean it first before my first brew. And I do have some accessories on the way, so some of this will be changing. For instance, I've got a Spike all-in-one PRV on the way, and I will be setting up the pressurization kit on top here, just that way I can put gas in and pressurize this tank if I need to. On the all-in-one PRV, I am going to use a secondary PRV on that just for safety's sake. So I know there's one built into the lid, but hey, you can never be too safe, especially when it comes to pressure fermenting. Oh, and before I forget, the one thing I am curious to see is that racking arm. The arm that you can use to position it, if you use it on that bottom port, does end up hitting the leg on there. Now, that may not be much of a concern though, because I plan to use that tank there at the bottom. Spacing the name of it off the top of my head, I'll just put it on screen. But basically I plan to dump the trub into that anyway, and with this it gets down to right to the last couple inches there at the bottom of the conical, so it will pick up most of the liquid. Personally, I prefer to use a racking arm. The pressurization kit is really cool to use the floating dip tube, but in my personal experience, floating dip tube hasn't been the most reliable way to transfer out. I know it's a little different in a keg because they're a lot smaller in circumference, and the tube kind of gets stuck when it's moving down. This guy is a little wider, so I imagine it would probably work a little better, but for peace of mind, I want to use the racking arm. I think that's all I have to say for now. Look forward to me using this in the future here soon. Until next time, cheers.